Here this evening to witness the launch of the Diaspora Engagement Policy, a historic policy developed to provide the necessary framework within which the Ghanaian diaspora can constructively engage in political, social, and economical, as well as cultural discourse of our national development process. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1998, events such as the Pan-African Festival or PANAFest, the Homecoming Summit of 2001, 2009, 2017, and the 2019 Year of Return have all created linkages that forge strong bonds between Ghana and the diaspora. To say Ayiko and Akwaba to all of us gathered here, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since 2017, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, has actually appointed quite a number of people from the diaspora in different sectors of the Ghanaian economy.
Your Excellency, the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the Chief of Staff, my big sister, Honorable Frema Opaye, Ministers of State, standing on the protocols already used here. I must, however, mention the ambassadors and the high commissioners and your excellencies who have been supportive all along. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you all for the honors you've given us by your presence this evening. I must begin with an apology for the late start. They say when you are not in your best club, that is when you meet your in-laws. And today certainly has given me that lesson. Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Please allow me to recall a conversation we had in your executive suite in Savoy Hotel in London on the banks of the River Thames. Mr. President, at that time you were still a presidential candidate, but you appeared to know very well what you wanted to do with the diaspora, and you promised me that I will lead your diaspora engagement in the presidency if she should become the president. Few months later, you were sworn in as the liaison, as the president, and you never hesitated to fulfill your promise and appointed me as the liaison between my personal journey with the diaspora. As soon as you were declared winner of the elections in 2016, you agreed to have your first meeting with the diaspora community that came home to vote in the 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections at Alisa Hotel. And that, for me, was an indication of how much you valued the diaspora, and it indicated your preparedness to work with the diaspora in your government. And through the finance minister, you immediately put together a committee that embarked on organizing an ambitious program in 2017, Diaspora Homecoming Summit, within the first 6 months, which marked the first major engagement of the bigger diaspora community as far as your government is concerned. By the end of your first term in government, you had nearly 100 diasporians in key positions in your government. Immediately it became obvious that the engagement of the diaspora needed to be based on a government policy. For those of us at the Diaspora Affairs Office, it did not take long to realize that there existed a drafted version of a policy for engagement at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. And the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayokobochi, kindly agreed that the Diaspora Affairs adopted the drafted version for further development. Since the discovery of the document, the work of the Diaspora Affairs has been cut out. But first, there was a small matter of some bills to settle, even before we could get the Center for Migration Studies consultants back to work. To do that, any further work on the policy, the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs was again once more to complete the policy. Let me put us in the Ghanaian context, which says that Ghanaians are found in more than 33 countries, and this makes Ghana one of the top 10 countries in the world that has produced and are involved in producing a new diaspora in recent times. If you take this and you add our newfound, or possibly the diaspora that we as in Ghana have included in our engagement, which is the historical diaspora, then you have a big number of people to deal with, to contend with, to harness, to make sure that they can all be part of your governance, of your socio-economic development. It has been estimated, though, that there are about 71% of the Ghanaian immigrant population resident in ECOWAS countries. And a recent survey based on census conducted from receiving countries in West Africa showed that there are about 487,000 Ghanaian immigrants in ECOWAS countries. But these are very crude estimates. We know they are more than that because we have been visiting them and we know how many there are there, more than that. The Ghanaian immigrants contribute to Ghana's development in many ways, including sending remittances that have been estimated to be more than 2 billion on average yearly in recent years, not to mention other kinds of remittances and philanthropic donations that they send. Additionally, prominent traditional leaders have been encouraging their immigrant subjects to maintain their links and interests in the development of their communities. Many Ghanaian residents abroad have responded to such overtures from their traditional leaders by investing in some community development projects, such as construction of community centers. And I very much remember, the big scale of project that was undertaken in not anywhere but in Yamwase, Chief. It was a big project by the diaspora community, and I want to remark on that. The health facilities, among others. In spite of these contributions the Ghanaian diaspora make to the nation's development, there has never been no formal policy or program in the country that spells out how the diaspora could be engaged for mutual benefit of the country and the diaspora. I believe after today's lunch, I would be the happiest person, because it means that when I go to any international gathering, engagement, the countries that will approach me thinking that Ghana has a diaspora engagement policy, I would be able to tell them that yes, indeed, we do have one. I say this because even though we never had that policy officially, we knew what was in the policy, and we were doing most of the things that are enshrined in our policy. For which reason, the world thinks that we have a diaspora engagement policy. Clearly, the diaspora engagement policy will provide a formal framework to engage and sustain dialogue with Ghanaians residents and with the historical Africans resident in their host countries in areas of common interest that will pertain to sustaining development. The Ghanaian diaspora engagement policy seeks to harness the human and the material resource of the diaspora for socio-economic transformation of Ghana. The policy is also consistent with the trend in many countries where governments are making conscious effort to tap the development potential of their citizens abroad. For Ghana, the policy is also in response to the 1992 Republican Constitution and other legal and legislative instruments and policies. The Ghana National Migration Policy, the ROPA, and others that enjoin us to extend certain rights and responsibilities to Ghanaians in the diaspora. Ghana has also responded to the United Nations recommendations to governments to their development agenda as indicated in the 2015-2030 Framework for Development Planning. The Sustainable Development Goals, commonly referred to as Agenda 2030. The National Migration Policy was adopted in 2016 and relation for mutual benefit to both parties, to strengthen systems for involving the Ghanaian diaspora in mobilizing resources for sustainable national development. The diaspora, in timely manner, to strengthen the homeland further sustainable engagement with the diaspora. The Diaspora Affairs realized from the onset that the policy document encapsulated what the office had agreed to do in order to effectively mobilize the diaspora. In addition, there was the view that the drafted policy needed a review, and therefore we embarked on a series of roadshows, seminars, conferences to further develop the diaspora engagement policy. Yes, regional integration. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, GTA, GIPC, the Ministry of Interior, we were able to meet some of the issues that had clearly been identified in this policy document, i.e., to deepen the diaspora-homeland relationship using diaspora tourism and cultural heritage to deepen our relations and courting the interests of the diaspora in Ghana. Most importantly, we are looking at the return, the readmission, and the reintegration of the diaspora when they come back to Ghana. And in the course of doing all this, at this stage, I must say that the rest of my speech here is going to be giving thanks to those who have been helpful in getting us where we are. And we are grateful to the following organizations that have been supportive in the journey this far. Thank you. A quick one to mention is the 2019 homecoming, the citizenship ceremonies and the full circle events that we have been able to undertake, all with the support, first and foremost, of our big sister, the Chief of Staff, the Republic of Ghana. And then with the foreign affairs, all the directors that have had the benefit of working with, including Ambassador Enos, and a whole list of others, Nsia, Kutin, Dr. Boati, Ernest, etc., etc. But most recently, Kwesi Amuzu. In addition to those who have been helpful, the GIZ of Ghana and the Med of Germany are to be mentioned as very, very reliable and supportive. IOM has been there as well, very, very supportive. I must also mention the support that we get from the Ministry of Interior towards our most desired objective, which is to make sure that those who want to belong to us, who want to become citizens, are given that right. I'm most grateful, Your Honorable Abbas, for all the things that you do for us. The Ministry of Information, who are guiding angels in all this journey that we are embarking on, and the Center for Migration Studies, especially to Mr. and Dr. Badasu. Dr. Badasu is the lead consultant at the Center for Migration Studies, and we can't but help mention the husband's contribution to all this effort. Very often stayed at the car park to wait for as long as possible for all this work to be done before she gets back. The director for the center, Professor Setrana, Professor Tay, and just a few. I think the year of return team needs to be recommended as well, the Beyond the team, the Beyond the return team as well. But most recently, the ISISC, which is the Intersectorial Committee, which is under the Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, trying to help us to implement this diaspora engagement policy. All the organizations that are listed are partners, and we are most grateful for what they do. But last and finally, I can't go and sit down without mentioning my team, the support I get from my team, the diaspora team, my deputy, Einstein and Co. I'm most grateful for the help, for the journey that we've made up to this far. Thank you.
The Director, Diaspora Affairs Office of the President, thank you very much. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the successful implementation of this policy we are launching today is to reinvent Ghanaian music and performances, the Royal Shakers Band. Shakers Band. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the climax of the evening is finally here. Under his leadership, the relations between our country and the diaspora has been deepened. In fact, in 2019, he led a historic swearing-in ceremony granting citizenship to members of the diaspora actively engaged in Ghana, which was part of activities celebrating the year of return. Today again, he is launching yet another major policy, the Diaspora Engagement Policy. Let's put our hands together and welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Clergy, the Papal Nuncio, welcome. Chief of Staff in the Office of the President and officials of the President, Arts and Culture, Minister for the Interior and Member of Parliament for Nandom, the Minister for Information and Member of Parliament for Fwasi Ayuribi, the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs. Welcome to Africans in the diaspora, as we did in 2019 during the year of return, being the country which housed 75% of the slave castles in West Africa, through which Africans were forcefully transported to the so-called New World. But we also believe that realizing the vision of a black world on both sides of the Atlantic, which leverages hard work, enterprise, creativity, and innovation to engage in mutually beneficial for good reason. History tells us of the impact of diaspora communities in the growth and development of countries through increased trade activities, rising investments, and the transfer of skills and knowledge. This diaspora is said to be the 25th largest country in the world, which, according to the Nikkei ICM review, owns assets worth $2.5 trillion United States dollars. And foreign companies in the late 1970s reduced their investments in China. It was the Chinese diaspora that shored up the Chinese economy. According to the Washington, D.C.-based Migration Policy Institute, MPI, half funds Israel, for example, raising some 25 billion United States dollars to fund infrastructure projects in that country. We're also told by MPI that India's first two bond issues, amounting to 11 billion United States dollars, saved her from a balance of payments. The policy is a comprehensive framework which will facilitate the seamless return, readmission, and reintegration of the Ghanaian diaspora. It will serve as a response to the challenges arising from gaps in existing policies, as well as streamline the activities of diverse institutions with statutory functions related to heritage, and foster a deeper connection between the diaspora and the homeland. Special attention thus preventing any sense of exclusion. Indeed, the policy will help deal effectively with all matters affecting overseas Ghanaians, because we believe that beyond the remittances Ghanaians living in the diaspora bring back home, they have a crucial part to play towards the growth and development of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to put across this evening is that all of us, yes, you and I, spirit, and not from where our youth flee, in the hope of accessing the mirage of a better life in Europe, Asia, or the Americas. Indeed, this is what Beyond the Return seeks to do, so we can derive maximum dividends from our relations with the diaspora in mutually beneficial cooperation and as partners for shared growth, and emerge as free, independent peoples to construct new nations of hope and advancement. The first half of the 21st century should consolidate this development and see the growth of modern, prosperous, technologically advanced nations within a united Africa, which will make a reality of the dream of the 21st century as the African century and bring dignity and respect to black people the world over. I say to you, we have a clear vision of where we want to take Ghana, and I need each and every one of you gathered here to join hands in delivering progress and prosperity to every part of our country. We have a bright future ahead as a democracy, an open society that can guarantee development and prosperity to its people. I'm certain that together we can transform Ghana and use all the blessings that the Almighty has bestowed on us to bring wealth to our nation and people. We know from the examples of several countries what a fruitful collaboration between their overseas nationals and their governments can bring for their national development and prosperity. Let us emulate them. So now I have the distinct pleasure to launch officially government's diaspora engagement policy. May God bless us all in our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the President of the Republic of Ghana. And the policy is being shared around. Please ensure that you grab a copy. 18, 19, and 20. Safe, orderly, and regular migration. Excellencies, thank you so much for coming. Ministers of State, invited guests, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora. Shall we all rise for coming? For the support of the German federal government